I'm going to guess that 99% of people clicking on this video, including you, have already learned the pentatonic in some form. But let me ask you this, can you play it instantly in any key, minor and major? Can you play not just up the strings, but across the neck? And can you seamlessly join up all 5 positions of the cage system? Well, all this might seem daunting, but with a little bit of structure, I believe this is well within the reach of every intermediate guitarist. So in this video, I want to set out what to learn and in what order to give you a complete understanding of the pentatonic. I'll include lots of playing from my previous videos, so you'll get to see and hear how each concept is advancing our capabilities. So let's do it. Let's start in the obvious place, the root position, minor pentatonic, and here it is in A minor. Now this is sometimes called the E minor shape because it fits around the E minor shape bar chord here. Now let me stress, this isn't just some beginner shape, it's the basis for tons of classic solos throughout history, but of course we don't want to just play up and down the scale like that, and you're about to see me play a full solo using just this shape, but including techniques like double stops, slides and different types of bends which really bring it to life, so it's no longer just a scale but actual music. The solo is actually going to be in the key of C sharp minor here at the 9th fret, but we need to talk more about that after. Let me just say that every scale and solo you'll see here has been covered in more detail in one of my other videos, so do check the links in the description. Also, full access members to my Patreon can download all the tabs and backing tracks, as well as my PDF guide showing all these pentatonic shapes in each of the 5 main keys we use for guitar. Anyway, back to our root position pentatonic shape. So if that's the minor pentatonic, what about major? Well, we can use exactly the same shape. You see, the track you just heard started on a C sharp minor chord, went down through B and A, and then resolved to E major. So it has the sense of starting minor and ending major, and it's incredibly common that songs move between minor and major in this way, and demonstrates a really important point that we can use the same pentatonic shape over both minor and major. This is because every minor key has a major key with exactly the same notes, known as the relative major. And our first position pentatonic shape always tells us which 2 keys it can be used over, with the first note here telling us which minor key, so in this case at the 9th fret, C sharp minor, and the second note here at the 12th fret being an E tells us we can use the same shape over E major. As you can hear. Coming back down to A minor, and you see starting at the 5th fret we have our A, obviously telling us it works over A minor, but then the second note here at the 8th fret being a C tells us it works over C major, once again, as you can hear. So now we know how to play the pentatonic in one position. For step 2, we need to start moving around the neck. Now, as the name suggests, the pentatonic is a 5-note scale, and there's a couple of simple 5-note shapes we can learn which repeat all across the neck. And what you're about to see is these give us a diagonal path up and down, making our solos much more fluid. The first is the 2+3 diagonal shape. So in A minor, also C major remember, here's our root note of A, but we're going to start 2 frets below here on the G at the 3rd fret and make a 4-note box. So G and A, 3 and 5 on the low E, and then up to the A string and play those same frets, C and D. So G, A, C, D. Now these 4 notes make up 80% of our 5-note pentatonic, and this little box is great for all sorts of licks. That kind of thing. Then, to complete the scale, we just slide up 2 frets on the A string, up to the 7th there, which gives us an E. So that's the full pentatonic there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G, A, C, D, E. But then the real beauty of this pattern is, you'll see, when we make that slide, it positions us perfectly to start all over again on the D string right here under our fingers. So starting again from the 5th fret of the D string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G, A, C, D, E, exactly the same, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E. And any licks we play down here, we can play exactly the same now on these higher strings. Then again, when we make the slide on the G string, we're ready to move up and play the pattern again, starting on the B string. This time we just need to slip up 1 fret to the 8th, but here it is, G, A, C, D, and slide up to the E. So there we have that exact same pattern, G, A, C, D, E on the lower strings, G, A, C, D, E on the middle strings, and G, A, C, D, E on the higher strings. Now if I connect all 3 of these positions, you can see how this moves us right across the neck from down here to up here. Now here's an example of a solo using this 2+3 diagonal in A minor. So that was the 2+3 diagonal. Now for step 3, let's look at an alternative, the 3+2. So sometimes this is considered the major version because we start on the root note from the relative major, in this case a C, here at the 8th fret, and this time we're starting with 3 notes, so let's play 1, 2, and then slide up to 3, so C, D, E, and then up to the A string for 2 notes, G and A. So now this is a 3+2 shape. But 5 notes, the complete pentatonic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you might spot that these notes here, C, D, E, are the exact same as C, D, E, the second part of the 2+3 diagonal. So really, this is just an inversion on the same concept. So instead of G, A, C, D, E, we get C, D, E, G, A. But once again, we can repeat this pattern across the strings. So C, D, E, G, A, and then moving up to the D string, C, D, E, G, A, and then up again to the B string, C, D, E, G, A. All together. And then I could also stick a high C on the end if I wanted. So let's hear a solo using this 3+2 pattern. This time it's in the key of G major, starting here at the 3rd fret. So let's recap what we have so far. We've got the E minor or root position shape, the 2+3 diagonal, and the 3+2 diagonal. Now, these cover a huge amount of real estate across the neck, but what if we want to spend a bit more time up this end? Then for step 4, we need the A minor pentatonic shape. So we said the root position pentatonic forms around the E minor chord shape, like here for A minor at the 5th fret. Well, the A minor shape forms around the A minor chord shape. So if we were to play an A minor bar chord in the A minor chord shape, that would be here at the 12th fret, that A minor bar chord. Then if we look for our pentatonic notes, A, C, D, E and G, around this position, we could start here on the low E string with an E, and then up to G at the 15th, then A and C, D and E, G and A, C and D, and E and G. So 12, 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 13, 15, 12, 15, all together. This shape is hugely used in many classic solos, and some really useful things we can do here include making a big bend up to the root note of A from the 15th on the high E, a great string on string bend where we bend up on the 15th of the B whilst also playing the unbent note on the 15th of the high E, and then loads of great little licks between the G G and B strings, which fit really nicely under our fingers. Now we could quite happily play a full solo in this position, but I want to show you something a little more sophisticated. So let's join up everything we know so far, starting with the root position or E minor shape. Then the 2+3 diagonal, which is going to cut right across that root position. And get us up here to the 12th fret where we find our A minor shape. Then the 3+2 diagonal, which is going to cut right across that A minor shape. And get us up here to the 17th fret where once again we find the E minor or root position, but now an octave higher. So you see these shapes cover the full neck, and these diagonal patterns really allow us to move about and get between different positions as we solo. So here's a solo bringing all this together, and just see how easily I can move around the guitar. Then step number 5, and we want to take on all 5 positions of what's known as the cage system. I'm not going to spend long here, so pause to follow the diagrams as needed, but essentially there's a pentatonic shape across all 6 strings, starting on each of the 5 notes of the scale. This is sometimes known as the cage system because of the way it relates to the chords C, A, G, E and D, or simply the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale. So we already know position 1, starting on the root note of A. So that's position 1, but then if we take the second note and now use that as our starting point, we get position 2, which looks like this. Now take note that this is exactly the same notes, just with a different starting point. So we had A, C, D, E, G, A, and now we get C, D, E, G, A, C, so it's just the same notes, different starting point. Then position 3, starting on the 3rd degree of the scale, so a D here, and it's going to look like this. Then position 4, starting on the E, so this is our A minor shape, which we already know. And then lastly, starting on the 5th degree, this G here is going to look like this. So that gives us 5 positions of the same scale. These shapes take a bit of time to digest, but it's really worth doing to maximise your fretboard knowledge. The exercise I found most helpful was simply playing up one position and then down the next. Up the next position, and then down the next, and so on. And this full exercise is going to look like this. So that's great as an exercise, but what's the musical point of learning all these shapes? Well, each shape offers something unique in terms of the licks that fall nicely under your fingers. Here's an example of a blues solo where I'll start in position 1 and then every couple of bars move up to the next position before ending back up again in position 1 an octave higher. In each position, I focused on a musical idea unique to that shape, but then followed it up with a recurring lick to show that each shape remains part of our same pentatonic scale. So there we go, study these 5 concepts and I promise you'll be so much more confident when the time comes to solo.